As long as your consciousness and your awareness is trapped within the digital matrix, this material dimensional plane of our present exile, the exile of our consciousness, one cannot address the original problem of the descent into this space-time continuum, all the while that one is so strongly attached to it. Therefore, you must strive diligently with great effort to transcend this digital matrix, to extricate yourself from your lower nature, to realize the conversation with your holy guardian angel, with your higher self that is connected to Source. Because the original purpose of the quantum light codes found within the Torah was to enable us to detach, to transcend the physical matrix. There is a physical matrix. Before technology, before computers came along, there was still a physical 3D matrix of the flesh, of the temptations of the flesh, of being caught up in the drama of the flesh. But now it is amplified. There is another layer on top of the evil material layer that was created by the demiurge, by the archons, by the Anunnaki, negative Anunnaki, by Enki. So the Torah, the quantum light codes from the Torah enable us to detach as we learn how to use the key of the Kabbalah to receive these codes. And while this ability is certainly still within our grasp, it is not the message that is being relayed these days. The surface of the Torah teaches us how to live at the surface of consciousness, that which attaches us to this present state of exile. The body of Torah that lies underneath its surface teaches us how to live within the body of consciousness that is presently unconscious. Keep in mind, there is a split between the left and right hemispheres of your mind, your brain, left, right side, the conscious and the subconscious. And to thus transcend this singular dimensional plane that is the left side brain ego, that is enamored with, trapped within this material dimensional plane of singularity, which entraps our minds at present and enables us greater freedom of mental, psychic movement. Originally, when the interdimensional vortex was opened at Sinai, a wormhole bridge was opened, connecting multiple dimensions. From the source, from the great source Torah, quantum light codes congealed and took a form through which it could be transmitted to us entrapped here in the third dimension. My dear esteemed, noble, and honorable viewer, look up information on Jacob's ladder, because it was our ladder of ascent and our path to return home. The original Torah was much more technologically advanced than we can presently imagine. Our sages say that the original tablets looked like sapphire stone, and that the letters actually hovered over the tablets, when at the same time they penetrated them through and through. This is very similar to the emerald tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean, and the material that the emerald tablets were comprised of. The great Bible, the Talmud, the commentator Rashi comments on a section of Gemara that discusses in what type of script was the original Torah written. He states that the letters of the original Torah were those similar to those that we find today used in amulets. Amulet script is also called the alphabet of the angels, Enochian script, and is known to be of extraterrestrial origins. The Torah itself is clear that it is neither of this earth nor of this dimensional plane. It is also clear that it was transmitted to us in a form also foreign from us and definitively extraterrestrial. Kabbalistic tradition teaches us that the first tablets that Moses received were most unlike the second ones. The first contained no barriers, veils, or disguises. The original Torah would have been absorbed into the minds of those who simply made contact with it. This Torah would have been absorbed into the individual's mind and soul like the manna was later absorbed into their flesh. The Sinai experience enabled those present to experience firsthand the original interdimensional reality from which we all emanated. Unfortunately, this experience was too overwhelming for most there, and they could not handle the startling revelation that everything that they knew and had ever known was actually a lie and a deception told by Enki and the negative Anunnaki to trap the Adam Kadmon divine source, fractal of God, fractal of source here in this third dimension hell created by Enki and the negative Anunnaki. That everything is a lie and a deception, this holographic deception, dealing with the reality that defied description or form, was too much for the masses to handle. But now the masses need to get it straight, because the masses are no longer being coddled. You have the decision to make. So instead they chose a concrete form through which to interpret and understand their experiences with the beyond. This was the sin of the golden calf. The sin of the golden calf was a mistake of the intellect, equally serious and destructive in nature, as was the eating of the forbidden fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Indeed, it was an actual repeat of the same mistake to choose corporeality over essence, your flesh over the spirit. And that is essentially the choice that you have to make today. Choose the flesh, the way of the flesh, and be trapped in the third dimension, digital matrix, or choose essence, the spirit, and go to the golden age, new earth timeline. This caused the recently received Torah to, in essence, grow a body of flesh and blood, as did Adam after his fall. Only one who detaches himself from the body of flesh and blood can penetrate beneath the Torah's surface and free its essence, its spirit, from its imposed shell and exile. Throughout Kabbalistic literature, it is taught that there is a Shishim Rabo Prashum, 600,000 ways to understanding Torah. Specifically, there are Shishim Rabo Prashum for each level of Torah understanding, referred to as parades, which are implied meanings, moralistic meanings, secret psychic meanings, levels of understanding, different levels of the quantum experience of the Torah. The number Shishim Rabo is no literal number, but rather a descriptive metaphor, describing the number of source souls in Israel. Torah teaches that there were 600,000 plus male soldiers who with their families were redeemed from Egypt. This number then is used to metaphorically describe the collective nation. The teaching signifies that to each and every soul of Israel, there is a unique way of understanding and viewing it from each of its four perspectives or levels. This explains why we have such a large volume of Torah literature. Everyone sees Torah their own way, and everyone writes their own commentary expressing their own insights because they are trapped in the ego. Torah teachers state emphatically that as long as one's views are properly anchored in Torah, their teachings are considered to be acceptable opinions. Thus, all of Torah literature is expressed as diot, or Hebrew word for opinions, some more acceptable than others, some authoritative and some not, some that are not legitimate and some that are outright wrong. Only one who is connected to the source, which is the living Torah, properly anchored and received from its higher dimensional source, recognizes which is which and authoritatively declares such. In light of the reality of the multiverse, wherein which each individual universe is slightly different from one another, Torah, Halakha, Jewish law, and Kabbalah will manifest slightly different from one universe to the next. This also is the meaning of there being Shishim Rabo Prashum. Each universe has its own unique expression of Torah. As life in the lower physical dimensional plane developed, Torah materialized in each universe in accordance to the realities happening in that specific domain. Therefore, while in our universe Adam ate of the forbidden fruit and later Israel sinned with the golden calf, there are universes where these things did not happen, and as such, their Torah materialized in a written form different from ours. All the while, it is still the exact same Torah as ours. Torah's essence is eternal, and thus never changes. However, the garments which clothe its essence are as changing as the minds of those who embrace them. That is why it is vitally important to realize that your soul path, your truth, is your truth and is not subject to debate. If anyone attempts to debate or somehow gaslight your knowledge, they are attempting to hijack your essence, your soul walk, your path to the new earth golden age timeline. So it is very clear the decisions that we must make. The path of the trickster Enki and stay trapped within the digital matrix of the third dimension. Someone who is a trickster, known to be a deceiver, an oath breaker. Enki is an oath breaker. That is why the Orion Council and all the higher councils have had nothing but problems with the Earth lab, the experiment, if you will, that was meant to take place on Earth, because of this unscrupulous individual known as Enki, Lucifer, who has an oath breaker. He's a coward and he's pathetically immoral. And if that is the path you wish to take, then continue in your ego debates, being blinded with your ego, and that is where you will be trapped. But if you hit the subscribe button, leave this video a thumbs up, you will be well on your way to the New Earth Golden Age timeline with his half-brother Enlil and the Christed ETs with the Galactic Federation of Light, and the Golden Age timeline will be realized with your source-connected consciousness. Namaste, namaskaram.